On the surface, these photos may appear to be just shots of everyday life, but the grim and horrific stories that are behind them really do give a grand narrative. These are the top 5 normal pictures with horrible backstories. Number 5. Tyler Hadley. In what appears to be a picture of a couple of teenagers posing during a house party is in reality the last photo these two teenagers will ever take with one another. Around July in 2011, a Port St. Lucie teenager named Tyler Hadley threw a large party at his parents' house after withdrawing and flaunting large sums of money. With over 60 people attending the party, it included beer pong, cigar smoking, and plenty of typical high school debauchery. But unknown to the partygoers, however, was that Hadley's mother and father were killed earlier that day in cold blood by Tyler, and their bodies lay just feet from the event in a locked room upstairs. Tyler then went as so far as to tell his best friend about the murders and even took him upstairs to show him the crime scene. Soon after that, Tyler then requested to take a photo with his friend. It's hard to imagine what his friend was feeling during this moment. Most believe he had to pretend to remain calm and collected at the same time completely disturbed by what he just witnessed, and he wanted one last picture of them together before he would face his life sentence. Number 4. The blurry family photos. During the evolution of early photography, specifically around the end of the 19th century, family portraits were very popular to those that could afford it. It would seem that this exposure in particular appears blurry, even though the subject in the center is crystal clear. That is because the woman in the center is actually deceased. Post-mortem photography, or taking pictures with your dead loved ones, was a standard tradition of the early generations. A tradition that definitely does not continue in modern day. The reason the deceased woman in this photograph is clear and the other two subjects are blurry is that shutter speeds in these days were very primitive, which means in order to capture a still image, something would have to stand still for over 30 seconds, which a dead body would have no problem doing. Number 3. Tangerine Falls. In Santa Barbara, California, a popular hike on the Cold Spring Trail is considered challenging yet rewarding. It ultimately leads to Tangerine Falls, a beautiful and scenic experience. During their normal hike, a couple decided to capture their adventure with a camera, snapping various wall climbing shots along the way. But when they returned home to review the photographs, a very grim discovery was made. In the far bottom of the photograph, a body is discovered laying across the rocks. The couple quickly notified the authorities, who sent a search and rescue team to the location. The good news is, the injured hiker in the photo was found alive and was airlifted to the hospital. The bad news is, the victim was hiking with another person, who also fell during their hike, unfortunately to his death. There are so many interesting facts surrounding this event. Firstly, the victim lied on the rocks, injured for over 16 hours after their hiking partner's body was found the day prior. The search and rescue had no idea she was only 100 yards away, alive and suffering. Secondly, the couple who found the injured hiker by browsing their camera's photos must have felt a very chilling and disturbing emotion when they discovered her unconscious body in the image of their normal picture. Number 2. The red car. On a mild day in Omagh, Northern Ireland, a father and his child stopped to pose for a wonderful picture during a busy day. Only 10 feet from them lies a red Cavalier that would later be the focal point of a terrible disaster. On August 15, 1998, a bombing was carried out by the RIRA, taking the lives of 29 and injuring over 200. The method of this attack was a car bomb. This car, to be exact. The father and child did survive the attack, but unfortunately the photographer did not. A very eerie shadow hangs over this photograph that would on the surface appear to be just a moment in time. Number 1. The Class of 1999. Class photos generally are a grand shot of the trials and tribulations of being a high school student. Some memories may be good, some great, and some really, really bad. This class photo, however, stands out to be one of the most controversial, since it includes the Columbine class of 1999 and the infamous shooters Eric Harris and Dylan Klebold. For those unaware, on April 20th, 1999, Dylan and Eric attended Columbine school that day with an arsenal of guns and weapons. They opened fire on many students and teachers, killing 15 and injuring 24. Months before the shooting, this class picture was captured showing various victims of the incident. What makes this photograph very scary was the foreshadowing of this terrible event. In the top left corner of the photo, you can see Eric and Dylan aiming their hands at the camera and mimicking a firearm. Unknown to the cameraman, this was going to be their grand scheme and future plan. For the ones who lost their lives and for the ones that survived the event, this grand picture will always be a reminder of the terrible memories that were created on that sad day. Thanks for watching Life Bites. My name is B. Ross, and just to let you guys know, we're not always going to have very grim and disturbing episodes. There's going to be a mixture of all kinds of things in the future. We appreciate you sticking around and checking out our episodes, and thanks for subscribing. And if you want to see more, check out our playlist, and check back every week for new episodes. We'll see you then.